When you have high functioning anxiety, you might struggle with overthinking, difficulty relaxing, feeling on edge, and overwhelm, which are all the opposite of feeling calm. To me, feeling calm means being grounded from within and having the ability to cope with and respond to difficult emotions or thoughts that may come up. You can learn how to feel calmer even when you struggle with high functioning anxiety. This is episode number 71, 7 Ways to Feel Calmer with High Functioning Anxiety. Welcome to Calmly Coping. My name is Tati and I'm a licensed therapist and coach specializing in high functioning anxiety. I help high achievers overcome high functioning anxiety so they can finally stop overthinking everything. If this topic resonates with you, then please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment below letting me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, thing number 1 that will help you to feel calmer from within is to calm your body. When it's difficult to calm your mind because you're struggling with overthinking, then it can be really helpful to go into your body and start to calm your body physically. That's because when you calm your body, then that's automatically going to activate your body's parasympathetic nervous system, which is your relaxation response. And that will allow your mind to relax as a result. So some examples of ways to calm your body include taking deep breaths, ensuring that you're breathing all the way into your belly and breathing in slowly and fully. Another way to calm your body is to release any tension that you might notice. It's really common to build up tension in certain areas of the body when you struggle with high functioning anxiety, and stress can result in that buildup of tension as well. Maybe it's in your upper back or shoulders, maybe it's in your neck or your hips or your legs or your face. Wherever that tension is, bring awareness to it. And one way that you can practice this is by really squeezing that part of your body, which will allow you to bring awareness to what's going on there and then release any tension. And so you can do this by going through your body from your head to your toes or vice versa, which is called progressive muscle relaxation. You can also Google or look up on YouTube this phrase so that you can find different guided meditations or guided videos that will help you through the process. Another way of calming your body is by doing a guided meditation that's called a body scan. This is similar to progressive muscle relaxation, but it's different in that you're not actively trying to relax your body, but you're bringing awareness to what's going on in your body. And increasing this awareness in your body can help you to become more aware of what sensations come up in your body when you're struggling with anxiety or different difficult emotions. And having that body awareness can help you to recognize what's coming up when you might feel uncomfortable and have that mastery over the difficulty and discomfort that's coming up. Second thing that you can do to feel calmer when you have high functioning anxiety is to acknowledge and label your emotions. Some ways to do this would be to verbalize them, talk about them to somebody that you trust, write them out in a journal, or to let them out in some way. A brain imaging study showed that, quote, while the amygdala was less active when an individual labeled the feeling, another region of the brain was more active, the right ventrolateral prefrontal cortex. This region is located behind the forehead and eyes and has been associated with thinking in words about emotional experiences. It has also been implicated in inhibiting behavior and processing emotions, but exactly what it contributes has not been known. So, what this is saying is that the process of just labeling your emotions deactivates the amygdala, which is the emotional processing center in your brain. So this helps to lessen the sensation of the emotion, and it increases the ability that you have to think about that emotional experience, and that allows you to process it. So here's another quote from this study. Quote, what we're suggesting is when you start thinking in words about your emotions, labeling emotions, that might be part of what the right ventrolateral region is responsible for. When you put feelings into words, you're activating this prefrontal region of the brain and seeing a reduced response in the amygdala. In the same way, You hit the brake when you're driving when you see a yellow light. When you put feelings into words, you seem to be hitting the brakes on your emotional responses. And mindfulness practices reinforce this idea that just labeling and acknowledging your emotions goes a long way in helping you to feel calmer. Now, this connects with number 3, which is to practice mindfulness. And this will help you to respond in situations instead of reacting. When you're reacting in situations, this is an impulsive, immediate response. And it's from a place of emotional urges. Whereas if you're responding, there is a gap or a pause in between what triggers you and how you respond or how you choose to behave in response to what occurs. So that gap is where you can create the opportunity to choose how to act in certain situations as opposed to acting impulsively. And mindfulness is what allows you to create that space. This is actually from the same study that I just referenced in number 2, that brain imaging study. So, quote, "We found the more mindful you are, the more activation you have in the right ventrolateral prefrontal cortex." So that's that same portion of the brain, and the less activation you have in the amygdala. So this reinforces the same thing that occurs when you label your emotions. We also saw activation in widespread centers of the prefrontal cortex for people who are high in mindfulness. This suggests that people who are more mindful bring all sorts of prefrontal resources to turn down the amygdala or to turn down that emotional activation. These findings may help explain the beneficial health effects of mindfulness meditation and suggest for the first time an underlying reason why mindfulness meditation programs improve mood and health. So what mindfulness meditation does is it literally changes your brain so that when you're confronted with emotional and triggering situations in the future, and this can be definitely anxiety-provoking situations, you're not going to have as intense of an emotional response. And this can be really powerful, because instead of acting on impulse and being really triggered and having difficulty thinking straight because you're in such an emotional state of mind, you can respond from a calmer space. And so mindfulness meditation can be really powerful in the long run in helping you to feel calmer when you struggle with high functioning anxiety. The thing to keep in mind is that this is not a quick fix. In the same way that you don't get results from working out overnight, this is something that you will notice a difference from through your consistency in maintaining this habit. Speaking of working out, thing number 4 that will help you to feel calmer when you have high functioning anxiety is to exercise or move your body in some way. So this helps to release built up tension, and studies actually show that exercise can be just as effective as antidepressants in treating depression, which can also help to decrease anxiety. This is another study that I looked at. A meta-analysis of studies shows that, quote, there are positive effects of exercise in healthy people and in clinical populations. So this includes people with emotional disorders or mental health disorders, regardless of gender and age. The benefits are significant, especially in subjects with an elevated level of anxiety and depression because of more room for possible change. The most improvements are caused by rhythmic aerobic exercises. So this includes jogging, swimming, cycling, or walking using large muscle groups of moderate and low intensity. So they should be conducted for 15 to 30 minutes and performed a minimum of 3 times a week in programs of 10 weeks or longer. This is what this meta-analysis, which is essentially they're looking at a whole bunch of studies and comparing the data and the results. So these results confirm that there are reductions in anxiety and depression after even single sessions of exercise. Exercise may also increase things like body temperature and blood circulation in the brain, and also impact how you physiologically react to stress. So this can help you to respond better to stress and to help you to actually think better because there's more blood flowing through your brain. So studies also support the fact that exercise can help you to feel calmer and to respond better to stress when you struggle with anxiety, and specifically in this episode, when you struggle with high functioning anxiety. So, I want to take a quick break to talk about my beginner's high functioning anxiety checklist. So, this is a step by step checklist that will help you to take those first steps to feeling calmer and to decluttering your mind. This is something that I highly suggest, especially if you've already taken my high functioning anxiety quiz. It's not overwhelming, and it's something that will really help you to take those first steps to feel calmer from within. You can find this by going to calmlycoping.com/checklist. So, thing number 5 that is going to help you feel calmer when you have high functioning anxiety is to be kind to yourself. This is super important. I want you to release the pressure and lower your expectations. Now, this might seem counterintuitive, especially if you have high expectations for yourself. But I want you to do this exactly because of that. Because when you have high expectations and perfectionistic expectations for yourself, this can add a lot of excess pressure that you are creating for yourself. And the tendency can be to be really hard on yourself when you don't meet these expectations. So I want you to practice being kind to yourself. And an easy way to do that is to practice self-compassion. And this is to speak to yourself as you would to a friend. When I share this with my individual and group coaching clients, this is something that they find really powerful, is to think of how would you speak to a friend in this situation, because it allows you to create that distance and have perspective so you can be objective when looking at your situation rather than being really emotional and having all of these expectations and fears that might get in the way. So, something that really will help you to feel calmer is to practice self-compassion and being kind to yourself and lowering those expectations to something that's more realistic. Thing number 6 that you can do to feel calmer is to focus on what you can control and let go of the rest. If you're overthinking something that you said to a person yesterday and wondering, are they going to think that I'm weird or that I'm rude? Let it go. You can't change the past, and you cannot control what that person thinks or how they feel about you. So anything that is outside of your control, whether it's something that's in the past and is already done, something that's in the future and you cannot yet control, or something that's in the present that involves another person and how they think, how they're feeling, or what they're going to do, then it's important to let go. I know it's easier said than done, but it can be really powerful to create that distance and to focus just on what you can control, which is what you choose to do and how you choose to think. That's pretty much it. So when you can shrink your focus to just those things you can control, that can help you to feel calmer in the moment. Thing number 7 to help you to feel calmer when you have high functioning anxiety is to enjoy the moment. Tune into your senses and really bring yourself into the present. If you're able to right now, I want you to practice this. I want you to think about what you see around you. What are the colors that you see? What can you smell? What can you hear? Do you hear cars driving by? Do you hear birds chirping? Are you listening to the sound of my voice? What can you feel? Can you feel the sensation of your clothing? Or the table in front of you, or can you feel the sensation of your feet in your shoes? What can you taste? So doing something as simple as tuning into your 5 senses can help you to be in the moment and truly enjoy the moment. And again, to reference more studies show that when people are in the present, that is when they're the happiest. Because in general, when you're thinking about the past, that tends to cause you to feel more hopeless, sad, and potentially depressed. When you're thinking more about the future, that results in you feeling stressed and more anxious. So that's because, like I just talked about in the last tip, you're focusing on things you can't control. When you're focusing your attention in the present, that allows you to focus on the only thing we have, which is this moment. So one way to do this is to take moments for silence. So maybe it's waking up in the morning and enjoying a cup of tea or coffee and just sitting there. No distractions, not while you're doing something else. Maybe it's going for a walk outside without headphones or without listening to anything and just feeling what that feels like to take a walk and the sensations that come up. These experiences allow you to connect to the present, which is where joy and happiness lies, and allows you to get out of your head and your desire to constantly be productive and to get back into this moment. Your action tip is to take the tips that resonated with you in this episode and put them into action. Start small. So even if it's just with one of these tips, to help you to feel calmer in your day-to-day. It can make a big difference when you're intentional with these steps. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic below. If you're watching on YouTube, leave me a comment and let me know what helps you feel calmer. And if you're interested in getting more support, you can go to my free Facebook community, Calmly Coping, which is for high achievers with high functioning anxiety. You can learn more and join for free by going to calmlycoping.com/group. And while you wait for next week's episode, I have other episodes about decreasing anxiety, adopting a healthy mindset, and managing your time and energy. So you can check out these episodes right here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, be calm.